I'm 30 and female, and I think my husband Sam is cheating on me with a criminal. A little backstory before I spill all the beans. My husband Sam and I started our married life pretty darn early. We met in a local bar through our mutual friends and decided to exchange numbers. Now, it was not an easy relationship at first. It was like a game who was gonna make the first move. We swapped numbers, but I did not want to come off too keen. You know, the classic hard-to-get vibe. I liked the guy from the get-go, but I was just keeping it cool. So I'm there acting all chill, preferring I'm not dying to shoot him a text. Truth is, I'm all in, but I decided to let him take the lead, playing the waiting game that they call it. Patience is the name of the game. My friends' days felt like forever, and I waited for that text. It was only actually 2 days after we met, LOL. And there it is. His name, lighting up right there on my phone. You guys can't imagine how ecstatic I was when I received it. My heart was pumping. His first message was like music to my eyes. I went for a reply that was part banter, part genuine interest. I wanted him to know I was into it, but I wasn't showing affection right away. So, we bantered back and forth, and each message was like puzzle pieces, and I got to put them together to see who he was. And so, the slow burn of getting to know each other began. It wasn't just about words, it was about the vibe, the rhythm of our convo. We found common ground in emojis and shared laughter over inside jokes only we got. Our messages weren't just words, they were building blocks for something special. Love, my friends, is an art, and we were painting our masterpiece one text at a time. 6 months of dating, and I was 23 years of age. He was 26, and when we got married, even though the event was just a simple church wedding and the reception was held in my parents' backyard, I'm telling you, it was magical. It felt surreal, and as the church doors creaked open, there I am, decked out in a gown that probably had more sequins than the entire galaxy. The air is thick with anticipation as we exchange vows. Simple, yes, but it's like time hit the pause button, and for a moment everything felt suspended in that surreal bubble of love. Fast forward to the reception. Fairy lights were all over the place, twinkling like stars, makeshift tables groaning under the weight of the homemade goodies, and a playlist that as eclectic as our love story. Sure, it wasn't a fancy ballroom affair, but man, it was magic. The laughter and chatter, the clinking of the glass, it all melded into this sympathy of joy. You could feel the love in the air, thicker than Grandma's gravy. The simplicity of it all, the makeshift dance floors under the open sky, added to the touch of authenticity that no fancy venue could ever replicate. It's like we blinked, and the backyard transformed into this wonderland of emotions. Maybe it was the mix of twinkling lights, the scent of homemade pie wafting through the air, or just the fact that we were surrounded by folk who seen us through the messy, unfiltered parts of our journey. So yeah, our wedding day wasn't some Hollywood blockbuster, but in that simplicity and those exchanged glances and stolen kisses between slices of a wedding cake, we found magic. It wasn't just a ceremony, it was the beginning of a chapter that felt like it was penned by some cosmic storyteller, leaving us with a tale that still makes our hearts skip a beat. Before we got married, Sam was already working for a construction company and I was working as an appointment clerk. We both don't earn a lot from our jobs, so we opted to rent an apartment at the beginning of our marriage. It was just a small, one-bedroom apartment, but what sets it apart? Oh yeah, the balcony. It's like our own little patch of outdoorsy paradise in the middle of the city. No fancy penthouse with a skyline view, just a two-seater egg-swinging chair on a balcony that's surrounded by plants and pots. But you know what? It was ours. A place where we would sip our morning coffee and watch the world wake up. Sure, the view wasn't exactly breathtaking, more like a mix of the neighbor's laundry and a parking lot panorama, but it was our view. Life might not be all plush, but it's ours and we're rocking it. Later on, after saving up some money, we decided to purchase a small two-house story, surrounded by a wooden fence through a mortgage, and use our savings for a down payment. You can see the years etched into the walls like it's been through a lot with its previous owners. And now, it'll be with us. And the family Sam and I will build. The future might not be far from a high-end showroom, but it's comfy, you know? The kind of place where you can just sink into the couch after a long day and just be left alone. The kitchen. I can already imagine us burning a few dinners and trying to be perfect with our signature dishes. Upstairs, that's where the magic happens. Bedrooms with mismatched furniture and maybe a creaky floorboard or two if we're lucky. So our house is not perfect, but it's ours. It's where we're making memories, learning the ropes of this whole adult thing, and embracing the quirks that come with it. Fast forward, and we're now 7 years into our marriage. And the things between us, well, they're not what they used to be. There's just no spark left between us, you know? I don't know. Maybe it's the daily grind, the whole work thing. Life got real out of our connection and sort of faded into the background. You can feel it like when you're searching for your phone and it's right there in your hand, but you don't realize it. That's us, missing something that was once right there in front of us. But when we were just starting our relationship, and like any other relationship, every day felt like a new chapter, and it was magical. This is what they call the honeymoon phase, LOL. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not like we woke up one day and decided, hey, let's drain all the excitement out of this. No, it's more like life happened. Jobs, bills, responsibilities, especially the bills from our recently purchased home, you know the drill. We got caught up in the hustle and bustle of life. And somewhere along the lines, that spark got lost in the shuffle. Work, deadlines, meetings devoured their way into our relationship. The late nights at the office or the extra jobs after the main ones turned into a new norm. And quality time together became a rare gem we had to hunt for amid our hectic schedules. Communication. Oh yeah, that took a hit. It's not that we stopped talking, but our conversations turned into a script to-do list and errands, and the passion we once had felt like a distant memory. And the date nights turned into Netflix marathons that we were both too tired to even choose what to watch. It's not a bad story, it's just a different one, a tale of two people navigating the twists and turns of life, trying to find the spark that once set their hearts on fire. Well, that's what I thought, at least. Last week, on a Sunday morning, a day that I thought would be peaceful and away from stress became a nightmare. Sam, quietly sipping his morning coffee and standing beside the kitchen counter, suddenly blurted out he wanted a divorce. I almost dropped the coffee mug halfway to my face as the words came out of his mouth. 1 minute I was thinking about what to have for breakfast, and the next my husband was talking about divorce out of nowhere. I was speechless. I could almost hear the erratic beat of my heart, and I could almost feel the pulse in my fingertips. I can almost feel the air in my lungs, all trying to escape and never come back. Then there's this weird mix of hurt and disbelief. Like, did I miss a memo or something? I thought we were just busy with our work, too busy to make this household work, and trying our best to fulfill our responsibilities. Now we're talking about breaking the whole darn thing apart? Sam was standing there probably waiting for a reaction, but I was too shocked and did not expect this, so I was just sitting there like a statue, with a coffee mug suddenly feeling heavier in my hands midair. When I gathered myself, I asked him why. Do you guys know what he said? I was too busy, and there was just no spark between us anymore. Unbelievable. For the past week, I was really doubting myself. All I thought was I'm doing my best and working hard so we can start building the family we always wanted. But as I reflect on what he's been happening and said in our relationship, there's this weird feeling that I can't shake it. I believe this is what people call women instincts. Sam will not just leave me just because we're busy. That's too shallow. I just knew there was something else, something more. Anyways, Sam's still living in the house because first, I don't want to divorce him. And second, Sam still hasn't talked to his lawyer. So here I am in the middle of my thoughts, wondering if it's just me being paranoid or if my gut's really telling me something. Sam might not have said anything, but there's a language beyond words and I'm trying to decode it. Then everything just clicked when I heard those knocks, these 3 slowly consecutive knocks. As I checked the peephole, 3 policemen were knocking and asking for my husband. I could feel my heart racing and my thoughts started to get all over the place. Did my husband kill someone? Rob someone? Set a house on fire? Kidnapped? All these wild scenarios were washing away as I opened the door and asked him what the heck they wanted with my husband. They wanted to know if Sam knew this someone that they were looking for. Then Sam came, hands trembling and beads of sweat on his forehead. He then proceeded to tell me that I should just go back to the living room and let him handle the situation. I complied and entered the house, but of course I did go to the living room. I stayed near the doorway that was, well, far enough to not be seen, but near enough to hear the entire conversation. Apparently, the police are looking for someone named Ava, a woman who is on the run and that they've been looking for quite some time. I can't believe the next thing that came out of their mouth. The reason that they were asking Sam was because someone saw them in a convenience store and, coincidentally, near his workplace. Sam dismissed the question and told them that never in his life has he encountered a woman named Ava. But you guys know how people say actions speak louder than words? Well, Sam's actions are not in conjunction with what he was saying. Right there and then, I knew he was a liar. The eyes. Those eyes that are looking everywhere except the eyes that are on them. You know, the people talking to them, the same eyes that I see whenever I confront him about whether he gets money from my wallet without asking. And he denies it, even if I already knew, in fact, he did it. Those same uneasy, fidgety hands tucked away inside his pockets are the same hands whenever I asked him if he can give the money for the house bills and he just told me he has nothing, even though I already checked his wallet to know for a fact that he does. Sam, what are you hiding? My mind's like a race car, zooming around, slamming into thoughts like they're a bunch of chaotic intersections. And when I was slowly connecting the dots piece by piece, is Sam really cheating on me? Seriously? 7 years into the relationship and now this? Is this what he always was just doing overtime and his side jobs for? Why can't I feel and see his salary? That's why I've been working so hard to catch up the bills and still put small amounts into our savings. Is he out there punching the clock for someone else? Is there a secret life that doesn't include me? Is that why I no longer get his attention? The more I try to make sense of it, the murkier it gets. I'm not just questioning his whereabouts, I'm questioning the very foundation of what we've built over these 7 years. It's not just about the time he's allegedly spending at work. It's about the time he's not spending with me. It's about the unspoken doubts lingering in the air, the unsaid words that seem to be floating between us like a dense fog. And yet, I can't help but feel this tug of war within myself. On one side, there's the logical part telling me to gather more info. One piece together, puzzle, before jumping to a conclusion. But on the flip side, there's this gut feeling and unsettling intuition that whispers, something's off here. You better pay attention. So here I am, caught in doubts and uncertainties. Is Sam cheating on me with the criminal, or am I just overthinking? What should I do? I'm terrified. What if Sam is really involved with that criminal and I get implicated with them? I don't know what to do, so please help me. Update number 1. Hey guys, I know it's been 2 months since my last post, and I'm sorry about that. I do want to thank those who commented and provided suggestions. I could not shake off the feeling that something was off, and I wasn't about to sit back and let life happen to me. And add to that, I noticed Sam was acting strange a month after the police incident. So, I decided to use some of my savings to hire a private investigator. Yep, I went there. Okay, before I dive into what the PI found, I wanted to tell you guys about Sam's weird behavior. After that day, he started coming back home late, and some days he didn't even bother to come home at all, and I really don't know where he was staying. I also keep asking him to contribute to the bills, but guess what? Nada. Zip. Zilch. He just dismissed me and told me to wait and he'll give me money. But you know what? The only thing that I'm getting are overdue notices, and I'm trying to keep up with them. And the divorce. We never spoke about it again, even once ever since the police situation. And back to the PI. I hired someone to tail Sam, not because I'm some paranoid psycho, but because my gut feeling needed validation. Sam's been acting off for the past few months, and it's just time trying to figure out why. I needed to know if he was really clocking in all those extra work hours or if there's something else. Or should I say someone else? You want to know what the PIs found? Let's just say that it was shocking. Sam's been sneaking around and is always seen entering and exiting the apartment building of his friend with a woman who is always wearing a cap and sunglasses. Well, I guess we know where he's been sleeping and clocking in his hours. I guess this is the girl, Ava, the policeman were asking Sam about. And according to my PI, the girl looks as if she's been staying in Sam's apartment for more than a month. When I called his friend, he confirmed that Sam indeed borrowed his empty apartment, because apparently we were going through a divorce and Sam wanted to give me space as I needed it. I couldn't believe what he said. Is this really happening? My instincts were right, Sam's really cheating on me. But it doesn't stop there. The woman, as it turns out, has a history. She's on the run, wanted by the cops, and for some serious gun violence back in the day. She was a member of a gang from some place that I would not want to name, and has been running from the police ever since. My PI also told me that Sam and Ava met years after she left the gang, but that doesn't change the fact that she's still a wanted criminal. Who knows, maybe she's a murderer. You know what was going through my mind when I heard the story? I was wondering if Sam even knew this. Well, why else is he hiding her in his friend's apartment? I bet he knew. Once again, I was right. My PI overheard them talking, and Ava was heard thanking Sam for his help, and that she would make sure that Sam would not get involved in the case in case things turned for the worse. PI also heard her talking about finding money so she could leave the country since she found out that the police were on to her. Now, I'm not just dealing with a cheating husband. I'm dealing with a cheating husband harboring a fugitive. Can you guys help me in this messy disaster? I don't know if I should confront him or if I should just straight up go to the police. To be honest, this is also overwhelming, and I've been living a normal life ever since, but I don't know how to handle this kind of situation. Update number 2. With what I just discovered, I could not just sit back and play the clueless wife card. Took your advice and decided to confront Sam as a woman scorned. And let me tell you, that guy had some nerve. He begged me and pleaded me to keep a secret. I could not help but clench my fist, raise my voice, and almost slam my hands on his pale cheeks. How could he? He just not admitted to his infidelity, but he also asked me to protect his mistress. This nerve in the guy. I admit it wasn't all anger. I loved him once, and I'm not sure if I'm past that, but he's not the same guy I married and fell in love with, you know. I actually already filed for divorce right before I confronted Sam. I was about to kick him out of the house, but an idea just popped up into my head. I told her that I would not tell a single soul about the incident as long as he gave me the house during our divorce settlement. Well, I still kicked him out after that, and a day later, I contacted my lawyer so that she could draft the agreement. I needed this to be settled quickly, and you guys want to know why? I already ratted out that girl. You guys might be wondering why I only reported Ava. Well, as I've mentioned, I have plans for Sam, and I didn't want it to be sabotaged. After all that he had done, I deserved this house. Right after Sam left the house, I went to the police station and told them everything I knew. I included in the report that I saw Ava outside Sam's friend's apartment when I passed by, so they might want to look for her there. And since I was not directly involved with Ava, I might not be able to get updates from the police, so I scouted outside the apartment to make sure that she was caught, and there she was, rushing to hail a taxi a street away from the apartment, holding a big tote bag that was filled, and a phone on the other hand, and that's where the police caught her. I guess she did not expect this because she was caught off guard. The last thing I saw before I left was her hands were behind her back and handcuffs were tightly around her wrist. The next morning, I received an unexpected call from the police station. Apparently, Ava told them that Sam was also involved in the gun violence that happened years ago, and that Sam was actually his mentor and their gang. Now, the police are asking me if I know the whereabouts of my husband so that they can interrogate him and see if Ava's telling the truth. Of course, I used my clueless tone and told them I did not know because we were actually going through a divorce. I didn't want them to know that I withheld information, but I did tell them that we're going to sign papers, so I will let them know. After I spoke with the police, I immediately called Sam. As much as I wanted to see Ava behind bars, I still needed to get to the house. And if Sam gets a hold that Ava was already called, all of this will be for nothing. I was relieved. Sam answered the phone, which means he did not know what happened, and then I found the right question to ask to see what he knows. I asked him about his relationship with Ava and asked what he was doing and wanted to know if it was all worth it. He responded that their relationship was hard, but it was all good. Ava was worth it. In fact, he had also told me that Ava just left yesterday to visit her 2 sisters, hours away from where we were. Talk about lucky. Before I ended the call, I told him to go to our house and sign the divorce settlement agreement, and you know what? He agreed. So I was wondering if I should call the police right after he signed the papers, or should I just tell them what apartment unit he's staying at anyways? That's all for now. Update number 3. The next morning, which was 2 days ago, right after we signed the divorce papers and the settlement agreements in front of the lawyers, I get a call and excused myself when I saw who was calling. It was the police. They wanted to ask me again about the whereabouts of Sam. I told them Sam was still in my house and they should get here as soon as possible before he left. Moving on. Less than 10 minutes passed, and I could already hear the wailing of police car sirens. And when I looked at Sam, his face looked like he had seen a ghost. It was pale, like life has been drained out of his body. His eyes were wide, and he locked onto me. His jaws clenched so tight you could probably crack a walnut. I guess he didn't expect this. Well, to be fair, he still wasn't a criminal. The police were just going to interrogate him, and the sirens outside were still getting louder. And he blinks, but like his brain's on delay. He was still not moving, and I guess due to the shock, but before the cops opened the door, Sam realized what was happening. Without missing a beat, he darts towards the nearest window. I'm not having it, though. Of course, I tried to stop him. I threw my arms out trying to put a halt to escape his plan, but let me tell you, this guy's got some muscle. He's been tossing steel beams or whatever at his construction job, and it shows. I might as well have been a feather trying to stop a freight train. So there I am, arms out trying to be a hero, but instead I get bulldozed. Sam bulldozes me. I went flying, crashed onto the side table, and bam, hit my head on the edge of it. As I tried to collect myself, I tried to stand up, and I felt the room spinning. Then suddenly warm liquid was dripping from my head on top of my wound. The lawyers were gaping up and shocked. Didn't know what to do. Everything's a mess, and I just let an accomplice of a criminal escape. I was honestly scared for myself, besides the fact that I just hit my head on the table. I felt the blood oozing from the wound. The criminal that I reported was on the loose. I'm not dumb. I don't want to be a criminal to be left on the loose, especially if that criminal was involved with something horrendous. What if he's out there doing something even worse? What if I could have stopped it? So the police did some first aid to help ease the wound and tried to call emergency services, but I stopped them. Sure, my head's throbbing, but the last thing I need is sirens blaring and the whole neighborhood watching my drama unfold. I didn't want the scene outside my house to be scandalous. After resting, I went to the hospital to have my head checked. Although I'm totally fine now, I wanted to be sure. Anyways, that's it for now, guys. I'm still adjusting and recovering from everything, and I'm refusing to receive news regarding what happened because I'm still so stressed because of what did occur. Goodbye for now. I'll update you guys soon enough. Update number 4. Final update of the story. It's been weeks since my last update, and I'm sorry for that. I just wanted to tell you guys that I'm in a better situation now. I didn't expect moving on was going to be easier, but maybe it was all because I learned something grave about Sam. Who knows? What matters is that I know I'm getting better. Anyways, a few weeks have passed since the chaos at my place, and you won't believe what went down. The police could not track down Sam, and out of the blue, when I least expected it, Sam reached out to me. I'll admit I was a bit taken back seeing his name on my phone. So what's the scoop? He needed my help. When the call came through, I hesitated for a moment. Old emotions resurfaced, and a mix of anger, betrayal, and a surprisingly smidge of concern popped up. Against my better judgment, I picked up. Sam, in a voice that sounded way too desperate for my liking, told me that he didn't want any of this to happen. He also said that Ava was trying to falsely accuse him of something he's never done. He was not a part of any gang, nor did he have anything to do with those kind of people. He just met Ava someday, and somehow they were together. He wanted to be with me again, and then asked me to help him get out of this mess that he's gotten into. Typical, right? I had to remind him of a little thing called consequences. I didn't do this. I didn't cheat. I didn't pick a girl who brought chaos to my doorstep, but Sam did. Reminding him of the fact that, well, it felt like a sweet victory, I firmly refused. A resolute tone in my voice. Why should I bail him out of the mess he created? I reminded him of his choices and how he walked away from me. Anyways, that's all, guys. Thank you for coming along in my journey and giving advice and suggestions. I'm still waiting for the papers to be processed, and hopefully everything just goes away. Well, see ya.